I was stumbling through the frozen woods at 3 a.m., the snow crunching under my boots, when I spotted him. A tall figure in a ski mask, just standing there, staring right at me. In that endless silence, our eyes locked, and a primal fear gripped my chest. What happened next still haunts my nightmares. Welcome back to Dark Book Studios, where we delve into the shadows of the real world to bring you tales that will make your skin crawl. Tonight, we're venturing deep into the heart of the forest with two true horror stories based on actual encounters. These aren't just campfire yarns. They're chilling accounts from people who faced unimaginable terror in the isolation of the woods. First, we'll hear from a man who crossed paths with a masked stranger in the dead of a North Dakota winter. Then, a woman's harrowing hike in Oregon that turned into a desperate flight for her life. Buckle up. These stories will make you think twice before stepping off the trail. My name is Jake, and I've always been the type to embrace the quiet thrill of solitude. Growing up in North Dakota, the winters are brutal. Endless blankets of snow that swallow everything in white silence. It was during one of those college winter breaks, maybe around 2015, when I decided to walk home from a party through the woods. I'd had a few drinks and a bit of smoke, nothing too wild, but enough to make the world feel a little hazy. The path was familiar, a shortcut I'd taken dozens of times, cutting through dense pines that loomed like silent guardians under the moonlit sky. It was about 3 a.m., and the temperature had plunged well below freezing. My breath hung in the air like ghostly plumes, and the only sound was the soft crunch of snow beneath my boots. No cars, no people, just me and the vast, empty wilderness. I remember feeling a strange mix of peace and vulnerability, like I was the last person on Earth. That's when I saw it. A figure, tall and motionless, about 75 yards ahead, partially obscured by the trees. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks. The moonlight filtered through the branches, casting long, eerie shadows that danced on the snow. But as I squinted, the shape sharpened. A man, or at least what looked like one, standing perfectly still. He was wearing a full-face ski mask, the kind that covers everything except the eyes. No coat that I could see, just dark clothing blending into the night. He jerked slightly when he noticed me, like I'd startled him as much as he had me. But then, nothing. He just stood there, staring. My heart started pounding, a dull thump echoing in my ears. Who wears a ski mask in the middle of nowhere at this hour? Hunting season was over, and there were no slopes around here. I froze, our gazes locked across the frozen expanse. Time stretched out, seconds feeling like minutes. The woods, usually so comforting in their isolation, now felt like a trap, miles from the nearest house, no one to hear a scream. My mind raced with horrors. Was he lost, high, or something worse? Images flashed through my head, him lunging at me with an axe, my footprints in the snow leading him straight to my door. I didn't dare move first. The air was so still, I could almost hear his breathing. Or maybe it was my own, ragged and quick. The cold bit into my skin, but sweat trickled down my back. What if he was waiting for me to turn away, to run? The desolation amplified everything. The creak of a branch under snow, the distant hoot of an owl that sounded like a warning. I imagined him following me, his steps silent on the powder, closing in while I stumbled ahead. The memory of a local legend about a woodsman who vanished decades ago crept into my thoughts, fueling my dread. Could this be his ghost, or a successor to his madness? I shifted my weight slightly. and that small sound seemed to echo like a gunshot. His head tilted, just a fraction, but enough to make me feel like prey. I thought about calling out, saying something stupid like, "Hey, you okay?" But the words froze in my throat. My phone was in my pocket, but my fingers were so numb, and what would I even do? Call the cops and tell them a man was standing? I realized with a chill that I was closer to him than I was to my own house. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I bolted, my legs pumping through the knee-deep snow, each step a labored heave. My lungs burned from the icy air, and I kept glancing back, expecting to see him charging after me. But he didn't move, at least, not that I could tell in the dim light. That almost made it worse, as though he was letting me go, this time. I ran until my house came into view, fumbling with the door, slamming it shut behind me. I locked every bolt, checked every window, my hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the curtains. That night, I sat by the window with a flashlight, peering into the darkness, convinced I saw shadows shifting where none should be. The next morning, I ventured back to the spot, sober and in daylight. No tracks but my own from the night before, though the snow could have covered his. I found a cigarette butt near where he'd stood, fresh and out of place, adding to the mystery. There was something about the brand, cheap, unfiltered, that gave me the creeps. Like whoever he was didn't care about leaving traces. I never took that path again, especially not alone. To this day, I wonder who or what he was. A drifter? A hallucination? Or something more sinister lurking in the woods, waiting for the next lone wanderer? The forest holds secrets, and that encounter reminded me that some are better left buried in the snow.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I've always loved the outdoors. There's something about the whisper of wind through the trees and the rush of a river that clears my mind. A few years back, around 2018, my sister-in-law Emily and I decided to hike a section of the North Umpqua Trail in Oregon. It's a stunning path, winding through dense forests along the river, with ancient firs towering overhead and mist hanging in the air like a veil. We were both in our 40s, not exactly athletes, but we enjoyed the challenge. A day of fresh air, laughter, and maybe a picnic by the water. The trail started out perfect. Sunlight dappled the ground, birds chirped, and the river's roar was a constant companion. We hiked for a couple of hours, chatting about family and work, until we reached a breathtaking viewpoint overlooking the rushing waters. It was the ideal spot for a break. We sat on a log, sipping water, admiring the scenery, but almost immediately a chill settled over me. Not from the breeze, but from something deeper. It felt like eyes were boring into my back, an invisible presence watching our every move. I tried to shake it off as paranoia, maybe from reading too many thriller novels, but the unease grew. Glancing behind us, up the slope into the trees, I noticed something odd. Hanging from the branches were bones, dozens of them, strung like macabre wind chimes, ribs, vertebrae, skulls of small animals swaying gently. They weren't weathered or old. Some still had bits of fur or sinew attached, as if recently placed. My stomach twisted. Who would do that? Hunters? Or something ritualistic? Emily saw them too, her face paling. "That's creepy," she whispered. We laughed nervously, but the laughter died quick. Then the footsteps started. Soft at first, crunching through the underbrush from above and behind us. Not an animal. Too deliberate. Too heavy. Human, or at least bipedal. My heart raced. I leaned toward Emily, keeping my voice low. "We need to move. Now. Pick up the pace." She nodded, eyes wide, and we shouldered our packs, starting back down the trail at a brisk walk. The steps matched ours, speeding up when we did. Whatever it was following, closing in. Panic surged through me. The forest, once welcoming, now felt like a labyrinth. twisted roots tripping us, branches clawing at our clothes. We broke into a run, our breaths coming in gasps, legs burning from the effort. The pursuer kept pace, crashing through the foliage, getting closer. I could hear grunts, heavy breathing, human but feral, unhinged. My mind screamed possibilities. A hermit? A predator? Someone who'd strung those bones as a warning? The trail blurred, the river's roar mocking our fear. We didn't dare look back, afraid of what we'd see. A shadowed figure, perhaps armed, eyes gleaming with malice. The isolation hit hard. No cell service, no other hikers in sight. If it caught us, no one would know. I remembered a vague news story about missing hikers in the area years ago, adding fuel to my terror. At one point, we came to a fork in the trail. I yanked Emily down the less obvious path, hoping to lose whoever was behind us. We ducked low, using ferns as cover, trying to make as little noise as possible. The footsteps stopped for a moment, then started again. Closer now, like whoever it was had sniffed us out. I swear I caught a glimpse of something pale through the trees. Maybe a face, maybe just bark. But it was enough to make my blood run cold. We didn't speak, too terrified to break the fragile silence, as though words might summon him. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we burst onto the main path, spotting our car in the distance. We dove inside, locking the doors, peeling out in a spray of gravel. Only then did I glance in the rear view. Nothing but empty trail. But the footsteps had stopped just as suddenly. A few days later, the local sheriff called. They'd investigated after another hiker reported similar bones. He confirmed we'd been chased but refused details. "If I tell you, you'll never hike again." His voice was grim, like this wasn't the first time he'd taken a call like ours. That sealed it. I haven't set foot on that trail since. The woods hold beauty, but they also harbor darkness, and that day, we brushed too close to whatever lurks in the shadows, waiting for the unwary.
And there you have it, 2 true tales from the depths of the forest that prove nature isn't always kind. If these stories sent shivers down your spine, hit that subscribe button for more spine-tingling content from Dark Book Studios. Like and comment below with your own eerie encounters, and turn on notifications so you never miss a nightmare. Stay safe out there, and remember, the woods are watching. Keep a sharp eye.